Jaya Jaya Krishna Krishna Hare
Now,
Jaya
before you heard the
Jaya
sound, now.
Krishna Krishna Hare Jaya Govinda Jaya Gopala.
So, so I noticed that you put your hand up when I asked about the intuitive insight of yourself as awareness. You see, now because last time we were talking about who you are being very relevant to which problems deserve resolution, isn't it? So I was saying that if you're a giraffe, then and you spent your whole life spent solving cat problems, then that is not worthwhile. No? So first we have to discover what we truly are, and from that perspective, then we know if something can be a problem or is a problem or not. So, if the insight is apparent to you that you are in your reality this self or awareness, then what is the what is the limiting condition for that awareness or problem?
Um, no, no limited
Correct.
conditions for
Very
this
good.
awareness.
Very good. So now to presume to have a problem, what is required to be done before you can have one? This is for everyone, not just for you, but before we get into the mode, and most of humanity seems to be living in this mode of trying to resolve something. Most are trying to resolve some meaning of life, you see, or how to lead a meaningful life. There's life itself is fully meaningful, but not a meaning that the mind can understand, you see. But many are trying to solve these sort of non-existent problems. But once you see that you are this awareness really, without any qualities, without any attributes, and yet all qualities and attributes can come and go within you. Now, from that perspective, what needs resolution?
Mm. From from this place, everything just seen as just appearance and whatever they carry,
Yes.
may it
And,
be a thought or feeling, it's just seen as just appear in this.
yeah, yeah. So I would strongly recommend this place. As long, I mean, it's not a place, but just to use words.
I want to share something, Father.
From that place, or
Um, exp- m- my experience about this place.
okay, about this place is good.
Is it okay?
Yes, about this place is good because
Yeah.
what can happen is the mind can keep tempting us to take other positions, you see, other perspectives, and and usually it says, but yes, from that place nothing happened, but however, you see, I have to share this from my experience. You see, many times it gets us into back into a paradigm which is not true. You see, but with that disclaimer, you can share what is your experience with that place.
Okay. So I was sleeping and then I don't know, during the sleep just it's just too clear, just I don't know how to express, but let's say this place just incredibly clear, and it's just so incredibly clear that I'm not I don't exist. It's just like pure seeing.
Yeah.
And then something
Who saw
arises
that?
like, sorry,
Who sees that? Who
what?
sees that there is only pure seeing?
Um, there was it was just the seeing itself, like the
Okay,
recognition itself.
good. Then how do you know about it?
Hmm.
There was only pure seeing. There was only pure seeing, no? And then you say, I was also not there. You see? Then how do you know? Because you have to be the pure seeing to know. So it must be you see? But is not I the in the traditional way of thinking of the I? It is not the small I. You see, it is the supreme I. It is the absolute I. You see, now to this I, the whole world appears. And suppose the whole world is in turmoil and there are problems everywhere, everything is burning everywhere. What happened to this I?
Nothing.
Is that bad news?
No.
Does
No.
this mean that the body mind, which seems to be central in the play of the world appearing, does this mean that that becomes inactive or passive somehow? That is not what I'm sharing. You see, many can hear it that way, but that is not what I'm sharing. That although the ultimate reality is unmoved, you see, and untouched by whatever may be coming, by the birth and death of the universe, you see, it is untouched and unmoved. Yet the instrument which seems to be central in the as almost like the 3D glasses with which we see the world, this instrument can be active or passive. It is not a judgment either way about that. It's part of the world appearance as it appears. So, can the dance of this flesh bucket mean something uh, about the ultimate reality?
May you please repeat, Father?
Yes. So I'm saying, can the dance of this flesh bucket, this body, can that mean something about the ultimate reality?
Can that mean something?
About the pure seeing which you are?
May you please change some words for me to understand?
Yes, yes. So I'm saying that whatever may be happening, you see, in the play of this body. So one day body is this way, one day is happy, happy. You see, whatever way it may be, what does it mean for the reality of the pure seeing that you are? You see? You see? Now, what is the mind job? The mind job is to convince us that this worldly play, and especially the what is happening with this particular one body appearance, means something really. You see, like when we say, "I'm really not lying. I'm telling you the truth. It is really like this." You see, we are not speaking really with a capital R. We're still talking about really with a small r, because for reality, nothing happened.
Hmm.
You see, and as long as we treat the small r, the propositions or the notions from the mind, to mean that they are really applicable to what is, that is when we get true isness mixed up with what it is not actually. It is the make believe what is. The mind will try to convince you that no, no, I want to be both. I want to be the ultimate reality, but I also want to be this, you see. But the thing is, the self is already playing both aspects of itself, the unmanifest and the manifest. It doesn't need any more duality. It is tasting itself in all this manifest creation. In the moment of waking up, this whole universe is tasted. You see? So it is getting that taste already. So don't let the mind convince you that you have to dance on both sides of the aisle or something. You rest as your reality, and then you see the colors and flavors of the manifest don't go missing on you, they become even more vibrant. Because that is the fear, no? That if I just live in that, there is nothing there. There is nothing. It will be so boring. What am
It,
I going to do?
it's not my experience even
Yeah.
now.
But generally speaking, many can get scared of this kind of thing because they feel like, oh, there's just a dark, empty void. You see, I don't want to live over there. You see,
Yes, sometimes it comes also farther, like with the feeling of emptiness, you know. But
yeah,
like in general, because it's not my experience at all, like it cannot hold.
yes, yes, good, 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 good. Now, now, how do we know what our experience is?
How do we know
What our experience is?
what our experience is?
Yes,
How do we know?
yes.
It's just appears.
You see, but what appears, we cannot know.
In what way?
We can only think we know, but we can never really know. The mind's proposals are thoughts about what we think we know about experience, but the mind can never know. That's why I keep asking, what is this right now? And nobody can give me a good answer. I know that. Not really, but just for dramatic effect. Yeah.
Mm.
What is this right now? If we cannot know one moment, how can we say I know about yesterday and my whole life and all of these things? How do we know our experience? The knowing which is inherent in experiencing itself, in perception itself, that is more than enough. You see, I don't know if it is too subtle what I'm saying. So
May
I'm
you
saying
please
that the know
further?
or
I
the intelligence, the intelligence which is inherent in the experiencing itself, in the perceiving itself, is more than enough. We don't need to then convert it into words, because those words go very far from the actual perceiving itself. Like we can say yesterday was a wonderful day, all only beautiful things happened. Not true. Or we say yesterday was terrible day, whole day only terrible things happened. Not true. It is just using very, very broad strokes to try and paint a picture which is much more intricate than that. And the biggest thing is that in all of those narratives of our apparent experience, we leave the one that is truly aware out of that narrative.
we
Leave the one that is aware, you see, that is truly aware. We leave the pure seeing out of the narrative. I've never heard a story in which the central character was a pure seeing. You hearing?
yes,
Have you ever heard a story where the main character of the story was pure seeing? You cannot make it the main character because from its perspective nothing has ever happened to it. You see? And the one to which something has happened doesn't ever exist.
only
And the one that to which something seems to happen has never existed, no? So the one that is, nothing can ever happen to it. The one that isn't, everything seems to happen to that. You see? And the choice that consciousness is making in this play is associating itself with its source, which is the reality, or with the made up figment of its own imagination, which is the person. So the minute we say something happened to me, we're talking about that which we are not. You see? And we're taking on that perspective. And the claims come from a false idea about us knowing what happened to us or what our experience is. We can never know here what our experience is. Actually, we can never even know perceptually. You see, because there can be so many illusions, even in a sensory way. So the meaning making or the sense making that we do, you see, using our mind, just keeps us on this uh, road of being a character that we can never be. How can we know what our experience is or was? What is the mode of knowledge that we can truly trust? Is it what our mind is telling us? Is it even what our senses are showing us? How do we know this is not a dream? Like the cat and giraffe thing, no? They say King Janaka had a dream, and then he woke up and he asked his master Ashtavakra, Master, please help me. Am I the butterfly who is now dreaming it is the king, or am I the king who dreamt it is the butterfly? That has to be clarified first. No? Suppose the king was trying to solve the butterfly problems, that I don't have flowers to sit on. It goes to the court, no? The king goes to court and says, I have a big problem. I'm trying to flap my wings, but I'm not flying. I'm trying to sit on flowers, but they're too small. They break when I sit on them. You see? What are you talking about? You're not a butterfly, you're a king. So the mind's representations of who we are, do they really represent us? You see? So don't rely on your report, on your own mental report for what your experiences are. Rely on your experiences itself if you have to. Leave pure perception, it's completely fine. You see, you don't have to judge it in any way. It can happen and it's very beautiful. It can play out as it is playing. But the minute you try to encapsulate it in your conceptual knowing that this is what is happening to me, that is where all the trouble starts, because this me has never lived. You see, and especially when we say I'm going to speak about my experience of the pure reality, then we are in trouble both ways. Because not only can we know what our experience is, but the pure reality doesn't have a quality that we can speak about. You see, that's why the sleep example is probably the only way we can really talk about it. You see? Am I just ranting on, or all of you with me? So, so but I'm just introducing you to the mental garbage, no? This the mental garbage that all of us own, because it comes with the claim of speaking something true about our life. Your life is too big, too vast, too magnificent for you to be able to report on it really. And you can try and give some clues, but if you become too attached to the interpretation, then we seem to miss out on the magnificence.